Hello, hello, and thank you for joining me. In today's video, I'm going to make clouds. Now, I have an idea for an upcoming project for this little rectangular. It's a 2x6, and it includes clouds. So I want to make some clouds that I can use for this project once I get all the pieces put together for it, as well as extra if possible. So what you'll need to make the clouds are just regular cotton balls. And as you can see here, I've taken these cotton balls and picked them apart. So I've got a whole bowl full of those. I don't know if I'll do this whole paper bowl full or not. I did go ahead and mix 20 milliliters of A and 20 milliliters of B. But I'm going to pour it in this disposable cup simply because I don't want to have to fight with trying to get all the cotton and stuff out of the plastic one. And the disposable cup, once I mix the clouds, I'll actually mark it cloud cup and use it for the next time I make clouds, just because I don't want to have to wrestle around with a bunch of cotton inside of my measure cup. Okay, let me set this over here out of the way. All right, so I have that in there. I'm also going to use just a dab of the white pigment paste. Let me get that turned around there. And I've already stirred this real well. I did that off camera just to save us some time. And I mean, I just want a dab. And if that's not enough, I'll do a little bit more. But let's stir this in and see how white it is. I don't want it super duper white, but I don't want it too transparent or translucent either. Actually, that's pretty good. Let's see if it'll show up on here. This really not show white on white, doesn't show up very well, but that's what we have. I don't know if you can see in there. It's not too opaque and it's not too transparent. So I'm going to start by just putting some of this cotton in there and getting it stirred around. And coated real well. And I'm going to just keep doing that until I have like a gooey mess, really. And it probably will be a little messy making this stuff. We just add a little at a time. And I will make clouds until I run out of resin. This is just the first step. There's another step after that, after this one, but first things first, right? Get that good and stirred. Let me see if you can see the consistency in there. I mean, it's absorbed the resin. So I'm going to use some tweezers. Oh, let me put the lid on this baby. And then I'm going to use some tweezers and start pulling some out and see if I can't mold them into little clouds and set them in here the way I think I'm going to want them in the future for this project, as well as some extras. If I can make extras and have them on hand, that'd be lovely. Let me just get some little tools here. And for the most part, I will probably use my hands. And I don't want a whole bunch of the extra little fuzzies sticking out. So let me press that real well. Try and shape it like a cloud. And the wonderful things about clouds is they don't have necessarily any particular shape. There's big clouds, there's small clouds, there's long clouds, there's wispy clouds. Let me see if I can't get that down in there and work on another one. I kind of want to try to put bigger ones in the corner. So let me see if I can make one a little bit bigger for the corner area. Almost like playing with Play-Doh, only a lot stickier. Let's see what that will look like in the corner. Get that pressed in the corner, and I will give you a peek see down here once I'm done. And as I said, this is just the first step. Let me try and do something with that, because right now it just looks like it's pressed into the corner. And I want it to kind of look like a little cloud doing its own little thing. Let me grab another. Oh, that's a big chunk. I don't want that much. All right. That's something else I'd like to be able to do, is like right now, put them in here, they're flat. I would love to make just some rounded ones like clouds can be, just because for certain projects, I may want to actually suspend the clouds versus putting them against the side or something. I have to work on that one. Let me see if I can get this fluffy little cloud in here. I think I want to add a little bit to that cloud. And yeah, this is sticky, y'all. This is a sticky thing. And I will show you down here as soon as I'm done messing with this a little bit. Let me give my hands a wipe before I touch this mold, simply because of the braces on there. I don't know if you can see it better that way, but I will bring the camera down too once I'm done. Let's make this a long, thin one. And I want a couple of little bitty wispy ones too. Let's see if I can get that in there, because those two are a lot alike. And any little fuzzes that's sticking out, I can take care of in the next step, because I do have a few of those sticking out. Now for this one, I want just a tiny, teeny, tiny cloud. Because sometimes clouds, if they're up close, they're going to be bigger. If they're far away, they're going to be small. And maybe one more really big one in a corner if possible. I'm just trying to think about how I want the project that I'm planning, which I don't have all the components ready yet, but this is a necessary component for it. I'm wondering if I can just kind of leave those little lumps on there like a cloud would be, and just carefully set it in here. I want lumpy little fluffy clouds. And I think I've given up on the tweezers because I'm just using my fingers now. And let me put one more in here, and then I'm going to start using my mat, because I'm not going to use all of these, I don't think, on the project I'm thinking of. But I do want extra clouds, because sometimes I come up with ideas and think, oh, I need to do that. And if it's including a cloud, then I want to have those on hand. So let me kind of wipe this sticky off and let you peek down in here. And then I'm going to move that to the side and finish making some clouds right here on the mat. That's what we have, and no rhyme or reason just yet, because ideally those will be layered in resin for the project that I'm thinking about. I'm going to move this out of the way and kind of give these a clean, because they are super sticky. And that's something too, be sure after you're done using like your tweezers for something like this, to give them a good clean so that they don't dry stuck together or anything. So yeah, I'm just going to make some little wispy and fluffy clouds, and I may, simply because, you know, like these, if you're flattening them down there, they're going to have a flat side. And I may want to come back in later and see if I can't build the other side up on some of them just to make them, as I said, I want to be able to suspend them in projects too. And these little fuzzes should be taken care of in the next step. And again, I want a nice long thin cloud because clouds do their own thing. Oh, that looks more like a fish. Let me see if I can make it look more like a cloud. I really want these to turn out because I just love putting stuff in resin. But I don't want to put just clouds. I want stuff to go with it. Let me see if I can. I'm going to try to see if these, the last little bit, if I can just set them down there like that and see if they will dry kind of. That's too much of a ball. Kind of like that versus flat on one side. Because ideally, I'd like to be able to suspend clouds and stuff. Depending, of course, on the project. And they may not look like much now, but ideally they will when they're in the project. Okay, this is the last little bit here, and then I'm going to clean my gloves. Let me get those. I really want that to look kind of like a funky little cloud there. Let me get my gloves cleaned here. They are sticky. All right, so that is, let me show you in here again. Let me get this all off. There's the start of my clouds. I know you can't see very well in there, but hopefully when it's time to do the actual project, you will be able to tell. But this is the first step. I'm going to let this cure for about 12 hours or so, and then mix some more resin, and we'll get on to the next step. So I will see you then. Okay, it's been more than 12 hours. It's been closer to like 24. I caught a case of smothered with lazy, but that doesn't matter as long as it's set for, they've set for at least 12 hours. Now the next step, I'm gonna kind of look at these little clouds. I don't know if you can see those. They're so cute. I think they're cute anyway. So the next step, and I did loosen these. That's got a little bit too much there, but there's my little wispy cloud. The next step is I do have some resin mixed. And now what I want to do, let me move this out of the way for a minute, is I want to take the clouds, dip them in the resin, let them drain, and these will definitely have to be watched for bubbles. But once they drain of the resin some, once it drips off some, I'm going to put it on the mat and let it set for about 20 minutes or so, 20, 30 minutes, and then I'll want to pick it up and move it. So let me get that set down there. Let me grab this little one. And this little one doesn't look too flat on the bottom, which is cool. Because I do want some that I can suspend if I want. dip that back in there. I don't know if you can see those bubbles kind of popping on there. So there's still bubbles in it, and this is supposed to help take care of that by recoating it again. Get that set down there. Get this one in there. And you can see that there's bubbles, and I'm just watching. I mean, if they pop and there's a dry spot, I definitely want to take care of it. But this one, as you can see, is kind of flat on the bottom. Go ahead and get that set down. Put this one in there. And the cotton, well, that's dry, and I'll show you. I put the rest of the cotton that I picked apart in a baggie, and I'll kind of have that handy in case I have extra resin after a project and I can make more clouds. Just to have them on hand, kind of like an inventory. Set that down there. Let me grab this little wispy one. I don't know why I like this one so much, but I do. Dip that other end in there. And I may have to go back in and trim some little, I don't know if you can see that little piece there, but that shouldn't be a big deal. Let me grab this one. Let me get that down in there real good. I need to definitely sink it in there. This one's a bit on the chunky side. And once they've set on the mat for 20 or 30 minutes, I'll pick them up and move them, because by that time some of this excess that I'm putting on right now will have drained off. So let's go ahead and see what we have in here. Now this is one of my little corner clouds. Not much of a corner on there, but it fit in there, so it should work when I'm ready to work on that project. And the project that I want to do with these, most of them that I put in this, it'll be a little bit further down the road because there's still a couple more components I need to prepare. And I don't know how well you can see these on camera, but they do look like clouds to me. Get that all dripped off. Set it down there. See if we can get this corner out. And that one, see, that one does look more like a corner. And yeah, the making these, it's a bit messy, but in my head, it's well worth it. Barely picking that one up. I can see another little thing right here that I need to trim off. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I'll take care of that later. Probably after they've set long enough that they're no longer sticky and I can pick them up. And here's a cute little cloud. It's just a little one. I tried this once with just the cotton balls and I didn't add any of the pigment, and it just they didn't look, I guess if you want to consider them kind of like storm clouds, maybe, they just didn't look like clouds to me. They looked like cotton balls dipped in resin. Here's one. And see, like that one is flat on that end. But I do have a couple that are fluffy, and I'm happy about that. And I will, kind of bubble set these just in case a bubble does pop up. I mean, it's possible. I know that with the coffee beans they do. Let me pull that one out. And then after this, I have one more, and that's a big corner cloud that I made. And I will bring the camera down so that you can see these. I mean, in my mind and in my imagination, minus the fact that I have to clip a few little fuzzy things, they look like clouds. Let me see if I can get this. This is the big corner. Let me see if I can get it out. Let me go ahead and pull that off. Let's see if I can get this big corner out. See, that's a big corner cloud. Oh, my tweezers are not going to grab them. I have to get my hands sticky. Yeah, get that sticky on my hand. But here, I don't know if you can see here where this bubble popped. You can see the clear cotton underneath or the first coating. So let me get that back in there, because I want to do everything I can possibly do to keep from getting bubbles in the final piece, of course. Plus, I don't want bubbles in my clouds. And I just made a mess on my gloves. Still dripping. I think part of that drip is because it's all over my glove. So let me get some of the sticky off my glove, and I'll pull the camera down for you to see. And I don't know how well you can see it on the camera. And there are a few little fuzzy little things that I need to take off. Like, I don't know if you can see this little fuzzy here that I need to take off. But those are my clouds. And as you can see how it's pooling, the resin's pooling underneath. What I will do in about 20 minutes or so is I'll actually pick these up and move them to a different spot to get rid of some of that pooling. But that's how I make clouds. And stay tuned for a near future project using those clouds in this mold. I want to thank you for watching, and let me know what you think about in the comments below. If you have more suggestions or better ideas, I'd be happy to hear those. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.